contrary to the perception that golfers are very few. Their achievements are not spoken about much. If we look at the stats in today's day and time, there are more women golfers, about 8-9 of them playing the European Tour, as compared to probably one man who's struggling with the European Tour. So I think this is a good time to talk about women's golf, where and how we have evolved, and what the girls are doing right to get to those positions on international platforms.
So good morning, everyone. We welcome Namita Mansingh ji. She's part of the IGU, a great amateur golfer and a mother of a professional ladies golfer. Thank you for coming in for the podcast, ma'am. We are honored to be having you here to discuss this evolution of ladies golf, something which in 1907 we were playing. And in 2007, the first Women Golf Association of India was formed. We really want to understand where this sport is, right? Because the general feeling is, I don't know how many girls play, where do they reach, do they have the time? So we really love to hear from you the perspective of a lady golfer and a mother of a pro and a part of this association. That where is the ladies golf situation today at?
Very good morning to you as well, and thanks for an elaborate introduction. I call myself an experienced golfer and a mother who's raised a sports person and a golfer, incidentally. And I'm glad we are having this conversation here because, contrary to the perception that golfers are very few, their achievements are not spoken about much. If we look at the stats in today's day and time, there are more women golfers, about 8-9 of them playing the European Tour, as compared to probably one man who's struggling with the European Tour. So I think this is a good time to talk about women's golf, where and how we have evolved, and what the girls are doing right to get to those positions on international platforms.
Absolutely, ma'am. And more so when we recently found out that, the first time the women golfers in India were playing was 1907. And incidentally, the WGA got formed in 2007, so 100 years before it got its recognition. But to cover the 100 years in 2024 today, we have more Indian golfers playing on the LPGA versus the men's golf. There could be various reasons, various aspects, but it shows that the women golf has started to pick up. And I think we would really like to hear from you is this journey and where and what is happening, that we see this trend, and as you said, the inflection point is now. So we'd really like to hear your point of views on that.
Yeah, so like you rightly mentioned, that I think golf is at an inflection point. And there is some recognition of performance in excellence, and I think the girls have picked that up. I think thanks to social media as well, that their achievements are amplified. Previously, we've had incidences of Simi Mehra, who achieved this feat of being on the LPGA Tour some 40 years ago. And we don't see enough recognition granted to her, even as part of a golfing legend that she is. And on the social media, I don't see many interviews of her. She could be a perfect role model for a lot of women, but we don't talk about her. I think that is one reason, and I think introduction of golf after 100 years into Rio Olympics and Aditi almost making it to the medal or the podium was a great inspiration to many youngsters. It seems like a reachable dream for many of the girls. Sadly, in India, I think whatever the girls are achieving, it's thanks to their parents. I don't think we have an infrastructure or a system to support upcoming women golfers. It's only when they reach a certain level is when the support comes in, and I think that's what needs to change. Additionally, I think promise of getting scholarships in U.S. colleges is one great motivation for a lot of many girls to pick up the sport. As parents, I think even the parents are more aware of the game. However, we are not there where we should be compared to any other sport. But that's what something is picking up, and I think that's good for the game, and that's where we are seeing that many of the girls are on LPGA tour today.
That's very interesting, ma'am. I think that's a very. Let's pick up from one of the points that you said, right? So, parents, right? And you've been a mother of a pro. I'm sure it's been a tough journey, because golf does take you to travel, right? But I don't think it's only golf, right? I think it's even in cricket today. If you talk to most professional cricketers, they've had to struggle, travel, the families travel. But where do you see is the biggest challenges that you faced? And I know there's this whole ladies golf and ladies stuff, but was the challenge in getting the right places to stay, or was it the challenge of the funding to go through? What is the challenge that you see? Because if the girls have to get out there, they have to grow, and we've been having this discussion that now we need girls from middle class families, smaller towns to take it up. What is the challenge that you see? And I'm sure a lot of our viewers will be more than interested to understand that. What is the challenge that a mother faces, with making a professional golfer from her daughter?
Absolutely. As a mother, and I would say I picked up the sport when my daughter picked it up. And I picked up the sport just to be able to support her and understand her challenges. And I started to travel with her while she was traveling on tour. So a lot of hurdles is one is a innate gender bias at our homes. Why must a parent spend so much of time traveling with a daughter? The son is okay, but why with a girl? And then obviously golf, it has the tag of being an elite sport and an expensive sport. So a travel also entails a lot of money expenditure, and then girls typically need to travel with a chaperone or a parent. So not many parents are willing to invest that kind of time. Between me and my husband, we decided that he takes care of the money coming into the family and I would take care of my daughter and support her fully. But not every parent or every family can afford to do that. And requesting grandmas or grandparents to travel, that's asking them too much. But though I have seen that happen in a lot of families. Another challenge that comes with the girls is you need to stay at safer places because of security reasons. Yeah. We all know how India is. So that entails a lot of expenditure on the part of a typical golf game, or a tournament entails traveling for a week at least. If by train, additional 2 days if it's a far off place, say South India or wherever. But if you're traveling by aircrafts, then you're spending more money. So money is also an important factor in that. Equipment as it is expensive. Staying up to date with equipment and the latest equipment to facilitate your better game is also something that has been a challenge. And finding that in India, it's difficult to get equipment, customized equipment, and the right people to be able to do that. So that is one challenge that was faced. And while I was traveling with my daughter as an amateur, I saw a stepmotherly treatment given to the girls' tour. There were no sponsors. There were times, of course, there were arrangements made, but there would be times on the golf course where there would be no water available. As parents, we had to make arrangements for those things. So, and I totally understand, coming from a sponsor's perspective, their catch is we need eyeballs. Obviously, it's a smaller pool. There's no coverage on TV or Facebook or whatever. So they don't get the eyeballs. They're not willing to sponsor the tour. But that itself poses a lot of hurdles for the girls. There's no sponsorship, even on the professional tour. If you look at the total prize money versus the men's tour, I think it's 10x, right, for the men.
That's the discussion I think all sports are having, like lawn tennis is having, all the sports are having. But ma'am, if you've seen these challenges and now you're touch with your daughter as a professional, but for the upcoming parents who want to do it, do you see that, has it started to change a bit, or is it still the same? or you start, as we were discussing, the inflection point can only happen when the stability also comes in the parents' mind, right? If that finally they'll get somewhere, right? We know, we were just discussing about the way the college applications, because the girls are being invited across the world if they're a good professional golfer today. I find a lot of my friends' daughters heading to US just based on the golf scholarships, and it's tougher for boys and also tougher in other sports. So there's a big opportunity opening up there. But do you see that this trend has changed because you've done the tough part and you've reached here, but the new ones who are coming in, do you see that change right now in the ecosystem?
Yeah. So to some extent, yes, the parents are seeing golf as an opportunity to get visibility and also to get, like you said, get college admissions. But the flip side to that is a lot of girls or parents are just targeting that as an end goal, where we want these girls to be able to pursue the sport. That's when the sport will grow. So they get college admission, get scholarship, but after that they're not pursuing the sport. So the pool for professional golfers within India is a very small one, because these girls, they go to the colleges, then they're picking up other professional careers and not golf, because it comes back to being there's no money in golf, right? Professional golf as well. How do you sustain yourself? And for a parent, when your child is an adult, you want them to be able to earn their living,
make a career,
earn their living, be able to pay their bills. And if they're not able to sustain themselves as a professional, not very many parents will be willing to do that, or they may not be, they don't have the means to be able to sustain that. So I see a lot of interest because of the success stories, like we've seen in badminton. There's an upsurge of young kids picking up the sport. But the flip side to it's up to getting a college scholarship, and then it's stopping there. The funnel is kind of not actually feeding into a larger pool of professionals.
Or you also feel that, women's golf also need that special moment, that X factor. Like Aditi is almost making the bronze medal on the first Olympics where we participated. Because it's great to see Aditi, Diksha, they're doing so well, they're being talked about. We need those small inflection point moments, right? When we want the young, because, let's come to where we've been having the discussion about girls playing golf on the courses today, right? We see that numbers growing stupendously, and it's not only about girls, right? Now we see ladies at QGL. Our whole emphasis was there should be a woman, so there's 2 women per team, which is bare minimum, which every team owner has to decide. But we also made a format where it does not discriminate with, or make it tougher for them. So even if she's playing whichever, they do well, and more consistent golfers win. So I found more teams are also going for more than 2 to 3 women, and that's the idea that we are coming in. But the important thing is, how are you seeing this whole sport for now? I'm not even talking the young girls or the pro girls, I'm saying even in ladies, because we see them growing in numbers across, right?
I'm glad you brought this point out. I picked up the sport very late in life, and like I said, it was challenging for me to find time with the family and everything, and plus the inherent hesitation of a lot of men that I wanted to play with. My husband was already playing and I wanted to play with him because I would not find enough women to play with, and I could sense that resentment, okay, because I was a beginner, right? So I could sense that hesitation of them to be wanting to play with me. Personally, I took it up as a challenge, and I told my husband and these friends that I will kind of play so well that one day you would want to play with me. But I was a homemaker back then, but I would not find opportunities to play competitive golf. And that is very essential for you to be able to perform better. And I'm glad that the league is doing and promoting this, because for a lot of us women, older women or moms per se, firstly, it's a challenge to pick up the sport. And if at all they do, there are not very many opportunities to play competitive golf, right? So I think women of our age also need that opportunity. And I think in current day and time, there are a lot of leagues happening, and I'm glad that you're promoting inclusion of women into the team, because Not every women, because most of us would have picked it up later in life and we're not like single digit or consistent one. But opportunities like this also keep us motivated. And I think much of this is required in today's day and time. Firstly, providing opportunities for older women to pursue the sport, be coached so that they can excel in the sport, and opportunities to play competitive golf.
No, so we thought of that, and that's why even for a senior citizen or a retired government official or an armed forces, there is no sex gender bias, right? So we've got some female senior citizens playing, we've got some ladies playing as government officials as well. So that was the idea, because we're seeing that in most golf courses, you get up in the morning and you see and you're playing in the morning, that the number of ladies golfers in the last few years has beautifully grown, right? Now in the morning, if there's about 100 golfers teeing off, you would find at a good 20 to 30 of them there, and they have their good 4 balls, right? They've started to travel, right? So it's getting better, right? Because I have hearing some tournaments of ladies happening across the country now. So this sport, for even the ladies who want to pick up the game. So from you, I would want to understand, and this could be addressing a lot of these homemakers where kids have gone to college and they're trying to find some way. How tough or how easy it is to pick up the game of golf at a later age?
I picked it up, and I'm a standing example of having picked it up very, very, very late in life. In terms of finding opportunities, I think now a lot of coaches are also open to teaching older women. Earlier, a lot of coaches would be wanting to coach mainly the youngsters. So there was no program per se for women, older women. There are clinics and stuff like that happening in today's date and time. For women, I think even the mindset needs to change. A lot of older women are like, oh, I'll let my kid play, right? I want to give him or her the opportunity. It's not for me. That mindset also needs to change. And I have done, I'm also a founding member of one of the non-for-profits that promotes golf amongst underprivileged kids. And we did a special program exclusively for women, not for younger girls and their moms. So a typical feedback for a mom to come to a clinic on a weekend meant that she felt guilty of neglecting a family on a weekend. So that was her hesitation, that she felt guilty spending 2 hours outside of the home on a weekend to be able to learn golf. And golf, incidentally, is a very time-consuming game. So if you're off for a round of golf, that means 6 hours away from home. Yeah. So that guilt is ingrained into how we are brought up or we are made to feel. I think women need to get out of that. A lot of them are doing that. In terms of how easy or difficult it is to pick up the sport, I think if you set your mind to anything, you will be able to achieve. And golf allows you to do that because the handicapping system, that's the best thing. I played other sports. I cannot compete with my children in lawn tennis or badminton because I'm not agile. But golf allows you the handicapping system where I can also play with Tiger Woods, right? So it's just a mindset. I think a lot of women can pick it up. It's just...
And the longevity of the sport.
Right. I picked up the sport. I did a lot of research and I thought this is a good 4 hours or 5 hours that I can spend with my time. My children were growing up, so my son also picked up golf and it was good family time for me. I'm listing all the positives of golf. You're out in the nature, right? That's the best thing you can do in today's day and time when you're struggling with pollution and what. Golf courses typically have a very low AQI, right? So I think golfers have an extra 5 years to their life.
That's also living to our one term that we use for our QGL is that we are grace and gratitude that all golfers are living that life. So ma'am, we've discussed about how the girls have grown, how mothers have seen, and how the ladies are coming in the golf. I think it wouldn't be correct for me to kind of let you go without getting your feel of what is it, those 2 through 3 things that you feel is very, very pivotal right now for all facets, right? I appreciated the fact that the guilt has to be thrown out. But when I want your point of view, when how and we can grow this whole sport, and especially for the whole female, and I'm not focusing on a certain segment or a certain age. So we really love to hear your views, because you've been there as a mom, as a sports person, as a mother, and now as an administrator as well. So your views will be very, very helpful, for us to kind of take this forward.
So I think in today's day and time, what we need to focus on is something that is lacking in golf is building a fan base or a spectator base. So we need to create more awareness about the sport. Not very many people know how the sport is played. So the idea is not just introducing the sport to a larger number of people, but also just creating awareness. If you go abroad for any tournament or any competition that's happening, apart from the hundreds of spectators who are already playing the sport, there are very many women and other non-golfers who are buying tickets to watch that sport. In India, we are not doing enough to create a spectator or a fan base. I think that can happen there are a lot of events happening, international events happening in India, inviting schools to come and witness that. It's an inspiration for that. I have experimented with that, taking a few children, underprivileged children, bringing them in a bus to watch the men's open, and the children it was kind of a field trip for them, and after I spoke to them, many of them said, I would one day want to be there on the podium and be able to play this sport. Fantastic. On a wonderful golf course. That was their inspiration, or it was their fan moment per se, and having the opportunity to shake hands with a winner. So I think we need to create more of this. Talk about golf in schools and colleges. For women, I think for them to pick up the sport, there has to be we need to create a system or an infrastructure where it is easily accessible for them. It should be they should not be required to take a club membership to be able to play golf. So some concessions to get more women into that. Maybe a women's day off with minimum green fees or something like that. And then also the coaches and stuff, they need to not expect women that they would readily come and register for your program or clinic. I think there is a certain level of push that particularly older women would require to get them inducted into the game. And obviously, I think the money is the main thing. Women's golf, or in general, golf does need more money, especially when children are playing amateur. That's the support that they need in terms of equipment or sponsorship or whatever. If you look at Thailand, every amateur playing on the tour is sponsored. In India, even the professionals are not sponsored, particularly the women sponsors. So that is what needs to change. We need more corporate MNCs or companies to come into golf and realize that they could do maybe CSR, or if they're looking at eyeballs or something, they need to put in more money as well.
It's a great irony, ma'am, that the most big golfers, corporates, CEOs are all golfers, right? So thank you so much for coming in, ma'am. It was actually a great conversation. Some of those discussions that you had actually gave me goosebumps, and it was nothing to do with Delhi ki thand. It's great. We really understand and appreciate it. I think from our point of view as QGL, we're just trying to make small steps. But we believe these small steps are very, very critical across the country. So we are hoping more and more female golfers are we going to be seeing it. And we might just be soon hoping to have golf leagues only for ladies, right? Across the country. So with that, thank you so much for coming in, ma'am. Yeah. And it's been an honor and a pleasure, and all the best.
Thank you very much for inviting me over. And it's a very cliched statement, but I do say that in my lifetime, I say I might die a failure because I am a self-proclaimed champion of women's golf. I call myself that. But I would die a fulfilled life, that at least I initiated a change. And I think joining hands with you and what you are doing, this would be very true for me, that at least you've initiated something hopefully maybe we might not be able to see the change in our lifetimes, but at least
We tried. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thanks for coming in.